Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Clix Dental podcast. We are here today with Chetan Mathias. Thank you so much for joining us, my friend. It's a big pleasure to have you on. So we've got Chetan here. He's a multiple practice owner. He also does consultancy and mentorship for other practice owners. And it's really good to get you on because I think we can share a lot of insights. A large portion of our audience are either dental practice owners or people aspiring to get into dental practice ownership. So Chetan, let's take it right back. We want to get an idea of what got you into dentistry and what was like early life like for you.
I get asked this question so many times, right? And it's over the years, what I've realized is the more I think about it, the answer gets a lot more clearer.
Yeah.
And one of the main reasons is obviously I come from a background where my dad's a doctor, my brother's a doctor. But medicine just didn't excite me. And for me, anything in life was, if it excites you, then go ahead and do it. If it doesn't, there's no point doing it. And as a young child, I went into dentistry. As a young child, I went to the dentist quite often.
Yeah.
And I just loved the atmosphere there. I still remember the days. Yeah, you have a fish tank somewhere in the corner, and they just have a nice banter about them, and the way they come across. Yeah, I just enjoyed every visit as a dentist. So that was one of the reasons. Like for me as a child, growing up, I was born in the Middle East. I was brought up in the Middle East, and I was there for 19 years. Yeah, 19 years. A place called Al Ain, which is an oasis in the desert in UAE. That's a GP, mom's a nurse, and that was most of my childhood. And that's where I went. But after we reached a certain point, you couldn't do higher education there, right? I'm talking about the 90s. I'm not saying my age here, but it's about the 90s. It's around the 90s. Nowadays, you've got lots of options in Dubai. But the Dubai now is not like the Dubai it used to be. So went off to India to do a few years of dentistry because it was quite close to the UAE. So when they did dentistry, and then came here to the UK with the intention of working here for a couple of years and then probably moving over to Australia or Dubai.
So you're already qualified when you came here?
And 19 years later, I'm still here now.
What would you say were some of the biggest challenges, traveling? Because that's a fairly young age as well, from like 19 years old, traveling to different countries. What would you say were some of the challenges along that journey?
You know what? I wouldn't look at them as challenges. It was just excitement for me through and through. Reason is it gave me a lot of independence early on.
Yeah.
Right. And I just couldn't wait to explore it. So even going from the Middle East to India was exciting. It's just different cultures, an experience, making new friends, meeting different people. And then from there, coming down to the UK, exactly the same thing. Like I have no family here, no friends, no relatives, nothing when I came in here. I think I'm lucky to say that I have a good, a sizable chunk of friends here now. And I can call it home here.
Sure. That's lovely. So you kind of came here, what age did you say that you came here?
To the UK, I would say, okay, let's go back. So 18, 16, 17 into dental school, plus 5 years, plus 2 years, so 7, 14, so around 24.
Okay. So you came here, and then what was like your early dentistry journey when you came here? So I'm assuming you worked as an associate for a while, right?
The time when I came here, because I was an overseas dentist,
Yeah.
You had to get, obviously, a job.
Yeah.
Then you also had to get a vocational training place. And at that time, the local graduates were competing for the vocational training positions in practices, and rightly so, because they studied here. But the government brought out this new regulation that you have to do your vocational training. So nowadays they call it vocational training by equivalence or PLV. But at that time, vocational training just came out. So you had to get a job. You had to get a vocational training position. You also needed a visa because you're an overseas dentist. So yeah, I would say it was tough. I still remember in 7 days, I applied to over 400 jobs.
All right.
Yeah, over 400 jobs, and I got called by 2.
And you got the job at one of them?
Both of them offered me the job.
Oh, fantastic.
And I stayed with one of them for I'm still part of them. I still work with them quite closely. Again, I think they were quite instrumental to what I am today. Yeah, very instrumental.
Did you notice that there was a big difference in culture within dentistry in those different countries as well? Or would you say there was similarities and common traits?
Dentistry is dentistry wherever you go, but the way dentistry is delivered is different in different countries. The culture is different because, it's a people business at the end of the day. So you're dealing and interacting with different people. So yes, definitely. There's big difference, a big, massive difference, big divide.
So what was some of one thing that we've noticed among like the successful practice owners that we've spoke to is that they all had some form of mentor in their lives at some point. At what point did you maybe find some of your early mentors or some people that have influenced the way that your trajectory's gone in your life?
Thank you for bringing this up, and it's so important. And I tell this to all the young graduates who come in, like, finding a mentor is so important. It's important because it fast tracks your journey, and it also saves you making those mistakes that they have made. Yeah. No matter what the cost is, but finding someone, I call it modeling. Finding someone who you would like, who's got a particular skill set, and you'd like to copy that skill set. And the best thing is find a mentor or a coach. So I had mentors at every stage. I had mentors in dentistry when I was doing clinical dentistry. I had mentors when I was doing implant dentistry. Some of them are not here anymore. I had an opportunity to shadow quite a few implant surgeons in America and in Germany. And the same goes with business. The same goes with, pretty much every aspect of my life. And sometimes I wish I had more mentors. That even goes with my training, my fitness. I have personal instructors, people who help me with my training. Because you can't know everything. And if you want to be good, if you want to have an all-round development, it's so important that you have coaches and mentors at every phase of your life. And a coach or a mentor that worked well for me might not work well for you. So it's identifying your weaknesses. So that comes back to being self-aware of who you actually are and what you actually are. And seeing what you need to do to be the best version of yourself. And once you kind of have that clarity and focus of, I need to be there, but to reach there, I need to develop these qualities. Where can I get these qualities from? I like the way this one is. I like the way. Go and approach them. And some people might not be officially mentors or coaches. You can always approach them and say that, like, listen, I would like to learn from you. Any chance you could be a coach or a mentor to me? 15 years on, I still remember I spoke to one dentist and I said, listen, can you watch me work the whole day? He said, what are you on about? I said, no, I just want you to sit in a corner. And he's been in clinical practice for over 40 years. He's retired now. He did dentistry at a very high level. So I said, listen, I don't mind paying you to come in, but I want you to sit and watch me work the whole day. And at the end of the day, can you give me feedback on what I could do to improve myself? This was me 15 years into dentistry, into practice. So coaches, mentors, very, very important at every stage.
Fantastic. So going back now, so you worked as an associate. At what point was it where you decided that you were going to go into practice ownership?
If I know now what I knew then, maybe I wouldn't go into practice ownership. No, but jokes aside, right? I think we as dentists have different phases in our careers. There is a phase from 24 to 34, then there's a phase from 34 to 44, and then there's a phase after that, which I don't know because I haven't reached that phase yet. And when you're younger, you think you're just like invincible, nothing's going to happen to you, and you can pretty much conquer the world. So for me, it was, I would say, it's something that I always wanted to do. But I just love dentistry too much. And I looked at myself as a dentist and I was like, oh, there's no way I can become a practice owner. It was only once I became a practice owner, pretty much accidentally, that I saw the impact you can have as a practice owner. And I think this is very important for young dentists to realize. A lot of young dentists think, oh, If you become a practice owner, you don't have to give that percentage what you give a practice owner. You don't have to give that anymore. So you get to keep everything. But it doesn't work that way. You still have to pay the staff. You have to pay for the materials. You have to worry if you don't have staff in, if you have a leak, if you have a chair that's broken down, that's all your problem. But I still remember my time as an associate. Brilliant. Clock in, do what I had to do, clock out. I didn't have to worry about the staff. The patients were coming in. All I had to worry about was to deliver great dentistry. And you earned very well. I probably earned much better when I was an associate than I was a practice owner. But the difference now is obviously you can't work at that pace. I used to work 6 days, sometimes 7 days a week, 8 to 8.
Yeah.
Right? Passionate about it. Right? I used to love it. For me, it was like going on a holiday, going to work. I loved seeing patients, the atmosphere, the people all around. But what I realize now is at that time, we wanted to deliver the best care to our patients. Patients look back and say, wow, thank you so much. You changed my life. Right? But being a practice owner, you can have a much bigger impact.
Yeah, it can impact more lives.
You can impact more lives. So like now I have 123 staff who work with me and around 32 dentists who work with me. Right? So it's responsible, but it's at a different level. And I enjoy this side of it, seeing the younger generation of dentists coming in, inspiring them to be the best version of themselves and see how they can improve the kind of dentistry they provide.
Amazing. So it's almost the impact that you have as the practice owner. I guess it's a shift in mindset, right? From being, just being in the day-to-day as a clinician and then having that, know-how and prowess to be able to actually manage a team, bring in the right sort of people as well to make it the right environment. So a question I have on that is really recruitment. That's a question that dentists are asking or bring up all the time about their struggles with recruitment, finding the right people, actually molding the right team. I've seen the team here. Obviously, I know some of your team members as well, and I think you've managed to build a real good vibe, energy, and a real high-performing team. So what are some of the key things you did really within that process of recruitment that allowed you to build this team you've got today?
Sure. Very important question, right? And it's underestimated. And it's funny you ask this question because I get calls from practice owners on a regular basis. Like, I just can't find staff. I can't find the nurses. I can't find the dentists. Fortunately, we are in a position wherein we have more dentists than what we need because our retention rate of dentists is like very high. I think it's on an average 7 to 8 years is the average retention rate across the group. And even with regards to staff, whether receptions or nurses, it's very rare we find someone leave. One of the things, and this is something that I speak on my dental practice mastery event as well, is hiring and recruitment, building your team is the most important, or how do I put it? It's the backbone of your business. Right, having the right team behind you. Because I have such an amazing team, like what you said, is I'm able to do what I want to do, right? Others having multiple practices, managing so many patients, it isn't easy. And it comes down to understanding people. There's a book that I've read, and I would definitely advise anyone who's looking at building their teams is Surrounded by Idiots. Right? It's a really good book. It's understanding personalities and understanding different people, understanding their strengths, motivating them, inspiring them, and understanding their why, right? I mean, and you can only do that if you understand your why.
Sure.
And lots of times what I find across dentistry in the UK is frustration, constant frustration. Practice owners calling me like, I don't like the way my practice owner did this. I don't like the way my nurse did what she did. She just walked out. She did. The problem is you're having the wrong people. It's like a journey. And I compare it to a journey, like a bus journey. If you have the driver in the passenger seat and a passenger in the driver, it's not going anywhere. So you have the right people on the bus, and then everyone has fun on the journey. And that's what it's about, building your team. So it's not one thing, but it's everything. So I think the most important thing, and we have a file of this for all our staff. The first question we ask them is, why do you want a job with us? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? The same thing goes with dentists. And I'm cool with dentists telling me, like, listen, in 5 years, I want to have my own practice. I'm like, brilliant. I would rather have a dentist who's motivated and training themselves to do better than to have someone who's just there and like, it's just a job.
Yeah.
Just there to tick boxes.
Just there to tick boxes. I don't, and I keep telling people this, like, I want everyone in the team to progress. I want everyone in the team to get better. I don't want you to stay the same way you are for the next 5-6 years. I want you to grow and progress. That's how the business grows.
Sure.
And being able to, I think, motivate and inspire, and most importantly, be a role model, right?
Lead by example.
Exactly, right? You can't expect other people to come in early, dress neatly, be on time if you yourself don't roll up on time. If you're rude to your patients, if you don't know how to speak to your patients, you don't show respect, you don't show empathy, how do you expect your staff to do the same? Right? Your business is a reflection of you, and that goes all the way down. It's a top-down approach.
Yeah.
It goes all the way down to the team. And every member of the team is valued, right from the receptionist or the front office to the cleaners, people who maintain the practices, to maintain the equipments, to the nurses, to the practice managers, to the treatment coordinators. All of them are equally important for us. And sorry, I've gone on a tangent, but this, I get so excited about this thing about team building. And I spend a day usually discussing this because I work with lots of practices on building their teams up. And people underestimate the value of the team. Yes, there's a buzzword, there's no I in team, and you need a good team, but actually building your team, it's what matters. I'm constantly hiring, right? So I'm constantly interviewing. Constantly hiring, whether I need people or not. I'm constantly hiring.
Now, like your level, you still do all the interviews
I
yourself?
do all the interviews myself.
Oh, wow.
I do all the interviews myself. Now we have different stages of interviews. So say, for example, if I'm hiring a reception or a front office, then I would get, I would look at the CVs initially, and I kind of get an idea, and I'll shortlist 6 or 7. Then I'll ask my head of reception to interview them, because at the end of the day, they are answerable to them.
Sure.
Right? I'll say, there's a 5, and I think this is what you need to do. And then when it comes down to 1 or 2 before they get recruited, then I interview them again. So they go through different stages of interview. And the same thing happens with dentists. And the same thing happens with therapists, with nurses, trainee nurses. So there is a role for everyone in the business.
Yeah.
I look at all the CVs. Every CV that's coming through, I look at it, right? And sometimes on a week, we get around 100, 250 CVs because we're constantly advertising.
Well, how much do you work clinically now?
Good question. Some weeks, 3 days.
Yeah.
Some weeks, 6 days. Some weeks, no. So on an average, I would say in a year, I would say clinically with patients, 3 days.
Yeah.
But it varies. Like,
And do you feel like being a practice owner now, you need, well, I'm sure maybe at one practice you might be able to manage it, but managing the size of the team you do you feel like you need those days away from clinical to work on the business?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Again, this is something I tell most practice owners, right? You need to spend time on the business than being in the business. Again, it all depends on what you want, right? Say if I love dentistry, which I still do, and I'm really passionate about dentistry, which I really do. But if I don't have a good team and a good business around me, I cannot practice the kind of dentistry I want to practice.
Yeah.
But my role now is to make sure my team, my dentists who work with me are supported. So they need great teams around him. And it's my responsibility to make sure that I get these good teams for them. So I have a great team around me, which is great. But then I also need good teams for my dentists who work with me, right? So 3 days clinical, and then the rest of the time I spend on the business.
And what's some of the main things that you're doing when you're spending that time on the business?
So because I have multiple businesses and multiple brands, I pretty much time block my thing onto different businesses. So it could be, I could spend a morning once a month looking at the admin side of the businesses and see how I can improve it. And the best bit is there's always room for improvement. There's always room for improvement. Like in one of my posts earlier on this year, I mentioned that this year is going to be quite crucial for dental business and practice owners. And I would like to compare it to Blockbuster and Netflix.
Yeah.
This is kind of the year where, and we had this phase, I would say 10 years back, when we had digital technology just kind of creeping in. There were people who grabbed it with both hands and they had scanners and everything in their practice. They stood out.
Yeah.
Now it's the norm.
Yeah.
And the same thing is happening with AI these days, right? People look at AI, talk AI, they say ChatGPT, they say all this, but do they actually know how to use it in their business, right? And have they incorporated into every aspect of their practice and every aspect of their business? You don't have to, but at least if you have the mindset that, yes, I need my practice to grow, this is a time of change, I have to pivot the way I do stuff. If you don't, you just be laid behind. A classic example was during COVID, right? So what happened is after COVID, there was a big change in behavior patterns in all industries and all businesses. A lot of businesses pivoted. They survived. In fact, they thrived. But dentistry as a business still stayed the same, thinking that what they did before COVID is exactly the same thing that they're going to do now. Nothing is going to change. And they were kind of immune to an extent because they had a lot of like a runway to absorb problems and issues. And what happened 5-6 years on, which is 2024, 2025, a lot of businesses that stayed the same are struggling with staff, with dentists, in fact, with patients, right? Because they said, what we did 15 years back, we're going to carry on doing exactly the same. It worked then, it's going to work now. They didn't pivot with the times. And now they're being more reactive rather than proactive. But those businesses that were proactive and saw change and moved with the times, those are the businesses that are thriving now. So you can see it all over the country now. There are some businesses that are thriving, and there are some businesses that are literally struggling to stay alive.
Sure. I guess it's moving with the times, rolling with the times for sure. Chetan, one thing I just want to touch on that you mentioned a little bit earlier was the fact that you're still, even though you've built an amazing team, you're constantly recruiting and you're constantly having, pushing out your ads for new roles within the practices, within the businesses as a whole. So one thing that a lot of, not just dentists, but business owners in general struggle with is putting in the systems and processes, but then their team actually following that in a consistent way and not abandoning the systems and processes. So how do you really make sure that your team are constantly aligned in the right trajectory and following those SOPs?
And on such a large level as well, because surely you can't be keeping an eye on everyone. So
I guess, I mean, like if you're constantly recruiting, it needs to be a way where it's easy for people to just come in, right, for new roles. So how are you doing that?
So we have SOPs, but also we don't micromanage people. We don't micromanage. When we speak to them, if we assign a task, we tell them exactly what our expectations are. And listen, we give you the responsibility to do it the way you think is best. We will advise you. We'll show you how you need to go down that route. But listen, you do it the best way you can.
yeah,
Right? All we do is, the reason I don't micromanage people is all I care about is the outcome. And I want them to enjoy the process at the end of the day. The way I do something could be different to the way you do something or you do something, right? So I just tell them what I expect from them as an outcome. Let's take an example, right? So say, for example, following up patients, right? So the outcome that I have for them is, this is what we're going to do. This is what I expect you to do. These are the patients who have approached us, but we've not been able to get them in for treatment.
yeah,
So this is the follow-up protocol you need to follow. However, if you think you need to do one more call or you need to send one more message, as long as I get that outcome, I'm happy with it.
yeah,
Right? We have the technology, we have CRM systems in place, we have this in place to help you monitor you. You got a phone system, you got AI on the phones, you got all the tools and gadgets there. Use it. Right? So I explain the reason and the outcome that I need, and I give it to him. So we have multiple teams, right? So every team's got different outcomes, different KPIs, and expectations from them. for me, it is setting the vision, setting the mission, and giving them the outcome that I need. And then it goes down. Then the managers, I divide the role between different managers. Like if we have front office, they have different thing. If the nurses, they have different. Then I have head of nurses. I have my TCOs in place. So say, for example, if I'm doing an implant treatment, for those people who have done implant treatment for so many years, will find that they do exactly the same thing again and again. It's habit.
Yeah.
You take the scalpel, this is how you use it, and this is the kind of scalpel you like. These are the sutures you like, and these are the instruments you like. There's a set way, and sometimes without knowing, you just put your hand in there and you know it's there.
Yeah.
So let's systemize that because it'll make our job easier. I'm not going to systemize it. My head TC or my head nurse is going to systemize that particular treatment for me. And they might say, you know what, Chetan, I think this is great, but let's tweak this up. We could be a lot more quicker. And you won't spend too much time doing this and doing that. So that's how we're constantly changing. And finally, it's making sure that they have the right mindset. And I tell them that you've got to be comfortable with change because I'm not staying stagnant. This SOP might not be valid in the next 6 months because we are growing, we're evolving, things will change. So it's very important that you have that mindset that we're going to try different things. Some things might not work, but it's very important for you to be okay with it. It might not work, but we're still going to try it.
Yeah. And do your managers within each of the teams, do they do weekly audits? Is it monthly audits? And from your point of view, from like a bird's eye point of view, how often do you do team audits for different roles within everything?
I wouldn't say we do too many audits. We don't do audits, but we have dashboards and KPIs, right? So we have dashboards and KPIs on exactly what we want. So say, for example, a number of new patients coming in. So I just look at the dashboards and see how many new patients have come in and how many. And if I want to increase that number or decrease the number, I speak to my head of reception. I speak to head of ops, and then I speak to head of reception, and then I say, okay, fine, this is the thing. What are the issues? What are the hurdles you're having? And then sometimes I have meetings with them once a month. Some sectors I need to go in deeper if I find that it's troubled or it's in the red and things are just not working as well. Listen, in a business, there are some times, but you'll be working, you'll think everything is fine. So all of a sudden, you're like, oh shit, what happened here? And then you'll run here. It's like firefighting. So there are some that need more attention, there's some that need less attention. So it's you're constantly monitoring and checking, which one needs more attention. Sometimes the marketing is fine. Sometimes you need to spend more time with the nurses.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you need to spend more time with the dentists.
Sure.
When you look at the figures. So I just do a top-down approach. I look at stuff and then I go to the necessary person who's in charge and I just say, listen, this is my observation. Can you work on this?
Okay.
And I just leave them to do it.
Yeah. So you give your team members a lot of freedom, right? And I think that's important to give people the freedom so they don't feel like they're being micromanaged. So I think that's a really good point. One thing that I really want to jump into, Chetan, is, look, you've obviously come a long way in business. And I think a big thing in dentistry, we actually did a podcast earlier on today and someone was talking a lot about the mental health side of things. What work have you had to do on your mindset? And what do you think is some of the most important characteristics that you've built up over the years that's helped you stay sane running a business like this?
One word, it's resilience. Okay, but I had to do a lot of work to get me to this place, right? Because you can imagine the amount of stuff that gets thrown at you on a daily basis. There are days I get up most of the time I'm up by 4:35 in the morning. But that time between 4:35 and 6:37 is my time. And that's what prepares me for the whole day.
Yeah.
Right? So there could be times, it's a mixture of stuff. I do train a lot, so it's running. I run around 5K probably once every other day. Gymming, journaling, meditation, breath work, reading. That's my time. My phone doesn't go off, and that's the time I use, right? And I do it on a routine basis.
And have you done, how long have you done that sort of routine?
I would say last 7-8 years. It was different initially. I used to think I was more nocturnal,
Yeah.
and I used to stay up till like 1, 2.
Yeah.
And there was a time when I used to stay up till 1, 2 and still get up at 5, 6. I should sleep for 3, 4 hours.
Oh my God.
Because there's so much I had to do. Like I mean, life was just exciting. There's just so much to do. And then I realized that as I progressed on in my career and I need more mental space and more time to be more creative, I found my optimum wherein I sleep a little early at this stage, maybe half 10, 11, and then get up at 4:35 in the morning. I find that works well for me. And the reason I'm speaking about time is because sleep is so underestimated. And if you're in a good mental space, you can perform at your best. For me, it's very important because my team looks up to me for inspiration. If I don't perform at my best, I have almost 123 people that look up to me. Right? I cannot have a good day. I cannot have a bad day. So we all have, but I cannot have it. So I need to make sure I'm proactive in preparing myself for the day before it actually happens. Saying that, I work with a lot of dentists and practice owners and businesses who struggle on this aspect. And one of the things I found that works very well is if you start looking after yourself proactively, you'll be fine. But if you just roll into work from your bed and you're just rushing, dropping the kids here, this, that, and then you're coming in, you've got so much to do, and you're just on this hamster wheel constantly, then yes, it can be an issue or a problem, especially for younger dentists, young families, young dentists coming in. You've got your family at home, then you've got the stresses of being a dentist, then patients' expectations, environment, working in the team. There's so many things you've got to juggle, right? So being proactive about it is important.
Yeah.
Right? And mental health is so important. There were dentists who I personally know, good friends, committed suicide. There were dentists whom I know personally who have left the job and gone into other professions. And there are dentists whom I know who are my age, who they stopped working.
Yeah.
Just because they can't handle it, right? But there are also dentists I know who absolutely love the job, can't wait to be in it and enjoy and thrive in it. And the main difference is mindset and being proactive about having the right mindset and making sure that you are in the right space mentally. All right. And there could be something that works well for me. There could be something that works well for you, but it's identifying that and being more self-aware of it.
Okay, fantastic. And so, yeah, that was really good insights on the mindset side of things. I think it's extremely important. It's something that we've had to learn growing a business at our age. We didn't, like, you get into it and you see the luxury online. I think that's what it is. Everyone's posting the highlight reel, right, on social media. And then when you get in business and you're like, oh shit, this is not what I thought it was going to be. So yeah, dealing with that stress is definitely something that, you're right, is looking after yourself, I think is so important, because I think what you said that I took away from was really a business is a reflection of yourself, right? Yeah. And if you're not keeping up with yourself, then that's going to reflect in the rest of your business. So that was a really good insight. One thing that I really want to ask you is, what was the difference like going from one practice and doing that to now 2, 3, 4 practices later? What's been some of if there's a dentist out there who we know loads of practice owners who are our current clients who have dreams of owning multiple practices, what would be your advice going from 1 to 2, 3, 4?
I think get one thing right before you start growing. Again, so important, like I've said before, what's your why? Why do you want to get multiple practices? Is it because the dentist down the road has got 4 or 5 practices, or because it looks cool?
Yeah.
You need to understand your why, right? Do you have a team to support that growth? And do you have a personal foundation? By personal foundation, your family back at home that supports it, right? Because it's not easy. It looks cool, but trust me, it's not easy, right? All aspects of it, from financial to staff to maintaining to mortgage to debt to patience. There's so many factors. So one advice would be know your why, know your strengths, know your weaknesses, delegate your weaknesses, identify your strengths. And finally, I would say do it right. Don't be in a rush. Take your time. Get one thing right. Take your time. It could take, for some person, a dentist, it could take them a couple of years. But for some, it could take 5 years. It's fine. It's not a race, right? For some people, they could do 5, 10, 15 clinics, some 100 clinics, right? So if each one has their own journey.
Yeah.
So you just need to identify your journey and make it your own.
What's your kind of goal now? Is your goal more practices, or what's really, I don't know if I know you mentioned why a lot, which is, I think, extremely important as well. I don't know if you want to share a little bit about what yours is and what your mission is now in this field.
5, 6 years back, I didn't think I would be in a position where I am, because I always looked at myself as a dentist. I thought I'll just be an associate dentist for life.
Yeah.
For me, as long as I enjoy doing what I'm doing, I'm going to carry on doing what I'm doing. If it means getting another practice, then it is getting another practice. Or if it means training other dentists, then it's training other dentists, right? As long as I'm creating a difference, making an impact in the best possible way, I think it's my duty to do something about it, right? So I'm not fixed to a target. Who knows, 50, 100 clinics? I don't know. But I'm not fixed to a target. As long as I can create an impact and I enjoy doing what I'm doing, I'm going to carry on doing it.
Amazing. And then, so you just touched on it a little bit there as well in regards to the educational side, the courses, and the mentorship, right? So if we go back a few years, or, to when that first started, when you first took that journey into, coaching, mentorship, what was it that actually drove you to want to do that in the first place? And how would you say, how does that make you feel now, being a mentor to all of these different dentists, practice owners out there? How does that make you feel? And what is the real reason for wanting to do that in the first place?
I would consider myself as an accidental mentor. Yeah, I just fell into it, right? From my early years in dentistry, I was known to be a high-grossing dentist, highly productive. For years, I thought that was the norm. I thought that's how all dentists function, because I was working in 4 walls. You don't know what you don't know. And then I slowly met friends and met people, and they said, wait a minute, how do you do that? How do you do the numbers you do? And I was like, yeah, I just do it this way. And they're like, oh, can we come and watch? And it started off that way. And then one dentist after another dentist, you should just come and watch. And I have no qualms with any dentist coming and watching me work. There's nothing. And even to this day, I have dentists not only over the UK, but also all over Europe who come down in this practice, who come and see and watch me work, which I have no qualms about. So you come and watch me work. If you learn something, it's great. And then what happened was I have a Facebook group called the Profitable Dental Practices. Again, there's a story behind me building that group up. But understanding the pain that I went through in practice ownership, I thought there'll be similar practice owners out there who will have similar problems. Because I wish there was someone out there who could have helped me with practice ownership. Because the problem with practice ownership is there are lots of people advising people on practice ownership, but they've never done it themselves. Some of them are not even dentists. But I wish there was someone out there who was a dentist and a practice owner and who would advise. Because people who are doing it really well, they hardly advise, right? Because they're fine. So I set up the group. I think I have it's close to 5,000 members, 5,000 dentists on it. Well, the idea was that we can put ideas, we can put out there, and everyone benefits from it. But no one hangs their dirty laundry outside, right? So what I realized was, well, no one's speaking. No one's talking about it. If for everyone, everything is brilliant. But I know for a fact it's not. But on the back of it, I started getting a lot of DMs, private messages from different practice owners about different issues, different problems they had in their practices. Over the last 3 years, I've done close to 323 Zoom calls. with different practice owners. No charge.
Yeah.
I just jump on a call with different practice owners.
Don't say that. Everyone's going to be listening for this.
But I jump on calls with them. Some calls have gone till 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning. I finish work at 8 o'clock, then jump on Zoom calls from 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12. Sometimes it's gone till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And because they find it a safe space, and they tell their issues, they tell their problems. And I say, okay, why don't you try this? Why don't you try this? I've been through the same issue. I went through the same problem. Why don't you try this? And then very slowly, what happened was I was like, okay, I think there are more people that are going to benefit from this. So 3 years back on my Facebook group, I put a post in there that if there's any associate dentist who wants to do what I'm doing and watch how I work, you're more than welcome. I'll take 4 dentists on to spend 2 days with me. Now you got to remember, I see on an average around 80 to 95 patients a day.
Yourself?
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. I've come up with a lot of criticism on social media about it, and I speak openly about it.
Yeah.
But you can look at my reviews.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every patient is treated with the same care and respect. The only reason I can do that is because I have a great team around me, an amazing team around me, and I just focus on what I have to do. I don't have to do everything.
Yeah.
Right? And I have a great team around me that does everything. So I just focus on what I do, what I'm good at. They focus on what they do and what they're good at. Right? I don't have to sit and take photographs of the patients. I have my TCO who can take the photographs. My nurses can scan. I don't have to sit and scan. I have team members who are very good at giving local anesthetic. I don't have to sit and give the local anesthetic. I just focus on doing the most important bits, which I can add the maximum value. So I put this post up and I had 83 dentists who applied for it.
Oh, really?
The idea was just 4 dentists, and it was a paid position because, again, I don't believe in giving anything for free. There should always be some value added to it. Others, I would have had maybe 500 dentists, right?
Sure. And when you actually pay, you're more invested.
Exactly. And I see this time and time again. Dentists who pay and come and watch, they're more invested.
Sure.
I used to let it for free, right? And I used to have dentists who come in and they'll be on their phones, they'll be checking messages and all they're working. But the minute they pay for it, they have a lot more value added onto it. And that goes with everything. So I had 83 or 85 dentists who applied for it. I was like, God, what am I going to do? But knowing me, the mindset I had, I was like, fine, I'm going to see all 85 things. So every week on a Tuesday, I had 4 dentists from all parts of the country who used to come down and spend the whole day with me. So I had to see 85 patients, and I had 4 dentists with me all the time. I had to see the patients, speak to them, explain so that they get maximum value of what they came for. We finished at around 6 o'clock in the evening, and then we go out for dinner. Right? And that conversation went on till 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. And I went to work the next day.
Yeah.
And this happened week after week after week. But after 3 months, I was like, there are only so many restaurants in Cove I can take you. There are only so many conversations we can have.
I bet the restaurants were smiling when you walked in.
Yes, they were. They were, right. It was... and then I thought to myself, most of the people coming to see me are 2 types of dentists. They're either practice owner or they're associates. So for the practice owners, I thought, you know what? They don't want to see me work clinically. They want to see how I can be as productive as I can. So they don't need to be in a clinical practice setup. So what I could do is get them in a room, put all my systems and processes in what I do, show them exactly this is how we do it, this is how we do it, and they'll get more out of it and I'll be able to give them more. So 3 years back, I did an event called the Dental Practice Mastery event at the Belfry in Sutton Coldfield, where I had a group of 10 practice owners, 10 or 12 practice. From that cohort of 70, I just told 10 of them, why don't you come and spend 2 days with me? And they were pretty intense days, pretty intense days. And then...
What did those days look like specifically as well?
Those days, so it was everything as a practice owner you need to know, right? From administrative essentials to hiring, to marketing, to cash flow, KPIs, dashboards, workflows around the implant side, workflows around the orthodontic side, which is the 2 main treatment modalities that I use. How to build your team, what's the current landscape in dentistry, where we are going, how we are moving. and basically that was what went over 2 days. Plus we had a coaching session wherein people had issues and problems. I couldn't go through everyone, but at least one of them could sit down and they could explain what problems, and we as a group would find out solutions for these guys. Uh, Pretty intense days. A lot of people had a lot of value from it. Some of them, the whole idea was to give them everything, go and implement it. But you know what it's like, right? Some people get everything, but it's very difficult for them to implement it. They're like, yeah, I get all this, but I'm still struggling to implement it in my business. I was like, okay, fine. So for some of them, I work on a one-to-one basis, right? And usually on a year, I have around 8 clients. I work with them on a one-to-one basis because I have my own business and my own clinics. I just physically don't have the time.
Yeah, you don't have time.
But then I have a waiting list of 2 years for the rest. But I just take 8 clients on and I see what their issues and problems are. And if there's anything I can do to add value in them, right? Like for some people, it's growth. They want to multiply their practices. They want to get multiple practices. For some people, it is cash flow. There are some businesses who are in the red for last 8 months, 9 months. There are some people who are struggling to hire dentists. There are some people who are struggling to hire staff. For some people, it's marketing, getting new patients in. So there are different aspects to the business. So I work with them on a one-to-one basis and get them to come on the other side. Yes, so that's what we pretty much do on the dental practice mastery event. Pretty much what a dentist practice owner would need. In fact, even if he's a business owner, what do they need to incorporate into their businesses to make it more profitable, successful, how they can optimize it and systemize it.
Sure. You said you had so there's two real, in terms of treatment specifically, there's two real areas of focus, if you will, implants and ortho, right? Why those two areas? What was it that really drew you to those areas in the first place? What's the reason behind that?
You should have guessed it by now. So for me, I work 3 days. How can I work in the 3 days to make my time most profitable and impactful for my business?
Yeah.
So there was a time when I used to do a lot of fixed braces. Fixed braces wherein you stick brackets on, you put wires in.
Yeah.
And I used to do around 200 to 250 cases a year. New cases. But the issue was you have problems. The brackets fall off, the wire digs in, they're uncomfortable, you got lots of emergency appointments. We don't like emergency appointments as much as possible, right? Because the parents have to get the kids to the surgery. We've got to have a space in the diary. It spoils the whole diary up. And you're quite limited to how many you can see. And then I moved on to orthodont aligners 5, 6, 7 years back. And I found that there's no ceiling. And I was able to increase my numbers, double, triple my numbers some years. To deliver the same, if not even better quality of care and incorporate technology into it. And get more predictable outcomes for my patients. So I was like, okay, it's a win-win for everybody. My patients are getting a better service. It's great for me. I can incorporate technology into it. I can see the future with that. So that was the reason I moved into orthodontics. Sure. Second thing with implants, many years back, I used to run an implant program called the Implant Academy. And one of my goals with the Implant Academy was how can I get the dentists who come into the program to be as good as me, if not better. But I don't want them to stay with me for 10, 15 years. So I've been doing it for the last 18 years. So how can I get someone who comes into the program and comes out and delivers the same quality of the care to the patient as I would? So I had to create workflows to make that possible and to incorporate technology into that, right? I don't do that program anymore just because I don't have the time. But what I did was I found by incorporating those systems into my own workflows, they were optimized, systemized, I could scale, and they were highly profitable. And for me, these were the two workflows in my 3-day shift that worked very well. Yes, I do smile makeovers and things, but my main focus is implants and orthodontics. That's the reason.
Cool. So yeah, it's really to maximize your time to income level, right? Which is really smart. So what have you learned? Like obviously the numbers that you see and the patient flow that you have coming out of these clinics is insane. How have you been able to build up those patients more on like the marketing side, or just generally, how have you got your practices to this level where you can see that level of volume?
Okay. I've got to be careful with what I say here, right? Because I know there'll be quite a few dentists, young dentists who are going to watch it, and I don't want to give them the wrong message. And it's multifactorial. Okay. The honest truth is, this didn't happen on day one. I've been doing this for the last 18 years, been consistent and relentless at it for 18 years, providing the same quality of care. It's very rare I have a day off, working 8 days a week, and the volume of patients I saw. So obviously, I started working in NHS practices, and then I started getting myself better and better and better and better at it, and I started delivering private care to my NHS practices, and then I moved into private care, private treatment. So a lot of my patients are patients who I have seen probably 10 years back, 12 years back. They had an implant on one side, and they're like, I know where I need to go to have the implant on the other side because of the quality of care they had. Or they probably had some fillings when I just started as an associate dentist, and they're like, oh, I need an implant. I'll probably try. They don't know the difference between implants and they're like, okay, it's dentistry, so I'll just go to the dentist. So it's, if you think about it, over the last 18 years, if I'm seeing the number of patients I'm seeing every day, and you multiply that by the years, it's organic.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one aspect of it. So I would consider that as word of mouth, doing good quality dentistry, and having a great team to support it. The second factor is obviously marketing and branding. This is 2007, 2008, where websites for a dental practice were, some practices had it, some practices didn't have it. It was mainly yellow pages.
Yeah.
I realized quite early on that I was a nobody when I started doing implants. Patients used to come in. They used to come in for the consultation, if they came in for a consultation. And the first thing a patient did after they came in, let's check who this guy is. And they should start searching for you.
Yeah.
So I thought to myself, instead of them going searching for me, how about I just come in front of them?
Yeah.
So I got my own domain name. This was at the time. And I made sure that if they Googled me, everything on the first page was about me. What I put, the information that I put, rather than them going and searching information from other sites.
Yeah.
I made sure that I was in front of them all across.
Yeah.
So they couldn't, rather than waiting for someone to proactively either lead a negative review or something out there, I had control over the kind of information I wanted to put in front of my patients. Okay. And at the time when I started doing Facebook and Google ads, I think, what is it, 20p, 30p or something for an ad cost, for leads to come through, compared to what it is now, right?
Yeah, sure.
So I was an early adopter quite early on. And that's with everything, whether it's technology into practices. There are some things that have worked brilliantly. There are some things that haven't.
Yeah.
Like I still remember in 2006, I was using scanners, CEREC, 3D, milling crowns. When it wasn't the norm in most practices, right? So those three aspects, right? So marketing is yes one, word of mouth, and making sure you incorporate tech and giving the best to your patients, and finally just constantly improving. I spend close to 25 to 30 grand on my personal education every year. And I've been doing this consistently for the last 17, 18 years. Because there's always something new out there.
Yeah.
And these days you can travel to any part of the world to learn and study.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't hesitate to invest in yourself.
It sounds like you're pretty, like, and I don't say this in a bad way, but like obsessed about like your work and your businesses. Have you had to do, I'm assuming the way that like we've built this conversation, that you've had to do a lot of sacrifice, right, in other areas of your life to get this far. So what's your kind of thoughts on sacrifice and the levels that you need to do that in order to get where you are?
Yeah, so there were a lot of sacrifices. There were a lot of things that I had to give up to get to where I want to. Because for those people who know me, once I get obsessed about something, I really go for it, right? I just get obsessed about it. Probably I'm a little bit on the spectrum with ADHD. I don't know. I don't know. But I get obsessed about things, and till it's done, I, I'm not satisfied. And if there's something I want to do, I'm just going to go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to wait. I'm just going to go ahead and do it. So for me, obviously there was a lot of things I had to forego. So unfortunately, no partying. Yes, I do have friends, but I didn't have much of a social life. I had quite early on, I had a family.
Yeah.
I missed out a bit on the kids growing. I tried to
How
make
old were you when you had your phone?
27, I would say.
God, we've got to hurry up.
Yeah. Yeah, 26, 27 I was. Yeah, 27. I think it's 27. No, I hope my wife's
She's gonna pull this up on you now.
But 27, I had my daughter's 16 now and my son's 10. People talk about work-life balance. I don't think there's any balance in life.
Yeah.
Right? You cannot have this and that. So yeah, we did have to make a lot of sacrifices, especially having a young family. My daughter's 16, son's 10. But people talk about work-life balance. I don't think there's anything called as a work-life balance. And what work-life balance is for me is different to what it could be for you. I do get it. I had to make sacrifices, but I was willing to make those sacrifices because there was a goal I had to achieve and do it. And people talk about sacrifices as, oh, too bad, sad on you. I'm cool about it, right? I had to do it. You can't have everything in life. If you want to go there and achieve something, people need to understand that if you want to achieve something in life or reach a certain position in life, there are things you'll have to go, and you have to be cool with that. If you're not cool with it, then be okay with not achieving that, right? And a lot of the young dentists don't get it because of social media and the platforms that are there, and that's the reason for rise in mental health issues in the profession with young dentists. People are impatient. Oh, I want that flashy practice. I just saw it on social media. I want that flashy car that dentist driving. I want this personal number plate. I want this big house. I want this. I want that. I want this holidays. That dentist is constantly on holidays, right? People think that that's the norm.
Yeah.
And they put too much pressure on themselves to try and achieve it. Sorry, I've gone slightly on tangent, but it just reminded me that as young dentists, especially young dentists who are watching it, be very careful of what you watch, because what happens on social media not necessarily always is reality.
I think that's a big point. Is like I've massively stopped looking at social media because we're in the agency game, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like when you start looking at what everyone else is doing, you might think you're behind, or you might think you're better. And I think it's better to just stay in your own lane and go on your own path, because I think it's a very dangerous thing looking at what everyone else is doing, because a lot of the time you're right, it might not even be the reality of it, and everyone's posting their highlights. So I think that's a really important point that you mentioned there. So Chetan, I'm sure, look, you've been in business a long time. I don't know if you've ever had some of those moments where you've thought, oh, I don't know if what I'm doing is worth it. But what's some of maybe the biggest challenges that you've had to overcome through building your business that you've managed to get through?
Yeah, you know what? We've had challenges multiple times, right? And if you're growing, you're going to constantly have these challenges. Because if you're in your comfort zone, that means you're not growing. And if you want to grow, you're going to constantly have challenges. So some of the challenges especially on the business side was, I'll open a new squat practice. Will I get patients walking in? I'll invest all this money in a squat practice. Will I get patients walking in? I'll buy a new practice that's already existing, running. Will I be able to run it as well as the old owner did, or even better?
Yeah.
Challenges in recruitment.
Yeah.
Challenges with new patients coming in. Challenges on marketing side. I mean, name it. Every aspect of the business, I've had challenges. But what's made me stronger is overcoming those challenges. We all get challenges in our businesses. But having that mindset, right? Having that mindset to that, yeah, you know what? it's not impossible as long as you can try and achieve it. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
So trying and achieving that and going for it, it's what's important. So I don't look at challenges as challenges. I look at, yes, that's an opportunity for me to grow. That's an opportunity for me to do better. Okay, I've got a staff. I've got a shortage of staff, which I never had for. I don't have. But if I did have a shortage of staff, it'll be like, okay, fine. Here's an opportunity for me to find a system in place to make sure that this doesn't happen again. Saying that, many years back, I would say probably 8-9 years back, I had the practice, I had the rooms, I had the patients, but I didn't have the dentist. And at that stage, I looked at myself and I said, okay, I have two options here. Either I rely on the macro economy. If dentists are more, I get dentists. If dentists are less, I get less dentists. Or I have control on the situation. And then I started working backwards and building a system and process in place where I constantly have dentists who want to work with me.
Yeah.
So which means that my patients constantly have care. The last thing I want to do is a patient calls for treatment says, sorry, we don't have dentists here.
Yeah.
But that's the reason most of my practices are open 6 days a week. And most of my dentists even come in on a Saturday to come in and work. Because we want to make sure that we have a constant, I wouldn't say supply of dentists, but we have, because most of our dentists stay within the group and our retention rate is so high. So that's the reason we don't have to constantly fill spaces, because we create an environment where they can thrive. We create an environment where they can flourish. And I have to set an example for them, right? I have to constantly inspire them, constantly motivate them, constantly show them the way. But I make sure I create an environment for them so that there's no reason for them to leave. But if they want to, it's cool, but there's no reason for them to leave. Because I used to work as an associate dentist a long time back, and I know the hurdles and the challenges that an associate dentist faces.
Yeah.
But if I can remove all those challenges and create an environment for them to thrive, that's what's more important for me.
Sure.
I think, just to touch on, you touched on marketing a little bit earlier, right? And you've managed to build yourself an amazing personal brand now. Of course, it's obviously taken a long time for you to get it to this point, of course, but you've obviously managed to build an amazing brand. And I guess there is a differentiation between the strategy towards building a personal brand as opposed to, say, the marketing done here at the practices, right? If you could just touch on some of the things that you think you've done really, really well, more so on the personal branding side of things for any dentists out there that are looking to build their brand. What have you done over the years to really build that core and that foundation?
Just be yourself, be authentic, because people can see right through you, right? Don't be me on screen just because I have so many followers or so many things. Don't be me. Just be yourself. And that's what's sustainable, because you could do this for a month, could do it for 2 months. And then if you stop, that's where it's consistency, right?
Yeah.
And the only way you can be consistent is by just being yourself. And I just say, have loads of fun doing it, right? If you have loads of fun, it's the journey. It's not the destination. It's the journey. Have fun while you do it. You can be consistent at it. And that's pretty much what I would say in building your own brand. Yeah.
Okay. Sure. So yes, selfishly, I want to ask this question. Look, we're obviously 25-year-olds into business. If you could give us one piece of advice, because I know this is for the audience, but we've also traveled here as well, so I want to get our value out of this. What advice would you give us as like 25-year-olds getting into? We've been doing it a while now, but at our age, if you could give us one piece of advice to take away.
I think looking back, sometimes it's very important what you want to do and where you want to go. And quite often the road is like windy, muddled up. It's not very clear.
Yeah.
But then if you know your final destination, your kind of auto tracker comes on and it kind of guides you. You can't see the road sometimes, right? You'll be like, just like what you spoke about, challenges. Like you'll face challenges, you'll face issues. Why am I doing this? There's no point. I can't even see the destination. but you constantly at it. Be consistent, consistency. Be relentless, and then you'll get there. It takes time. Well, that's why not everyone does it.
Yeah.
Only people who are consistent and relentless at achieving their goals be there, right? And the second thing is, I see two of you are working together. It's all about teamwork, right? In practice ownership, what I've seen is out of every 10 partnerships, 9 fail. Right? So it's a lot more harder. Okay? But if you'll have the same mindset and the same ethos and the same direction, then you're going to have lots of fun at the end.
No, it's good.
But no, thank you so much for that advice. I really appreciate that. And so finally, to round this off, where can people find you, Chet, and what's some things that you're actively involved in at the minute? I'm sure people watching this and thinking, okay, how can I, if it's mentorship, what different things do you have available at the minute that people can get involved with?
I mean, the platform that I use very often is 2 platforms. One is Instagram and is LinkedIn. I look at my messages on Instagram. In fact, funnily enough, I'm more responsive on Instagram than I'm on WhatsApp. And it's just a platform that I really like. So Instagram, LinkedIn. They can go on to the Dental Practice Mastery if they're looking at mainly for practice owners.
Yeah.
But I'm open for conversations with associates as well if there's anything that I could do to add value to what they do.
Okay.
But for practice owners, they can go to the Dental Practice Mastery. I run events 3-4 times a year. We've got one in September, it's fully booked. October one is fully booked. We have one in December, which is halfway there. Others, we have events next year as well. So we're constantly putting events on. Yeah. That's where you can find me.
Any final things that you want to say to the audience? But just before you do that, it's been an absolute pleasure having you today. It's honestly, I took away a lot from that conversation. But yeah, any final things that you want to say?
What I would say is, never be scared to ask for help if you need it. Everyone needs help at some point. And if there is a destination you want to go to, there's already somebody who's been there on that road and on that path. All you've got to do is model them, copy them, and ask for their help. So don't be afraid to get mentors and coaches to help you. It makes the journey a lot more easier, and you have a lot of fun in the process as well.
Thank you so much. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching this episode of the podcast. All of the links to Chetan's stuff will be in the description below, and we'll see you on the next episode.
For me as well. 3, 2, 1. Super duper.